Hello everybody, my name is the John Crow, and in this Game Maker tutorial I wanted to cover a use case scenario for speaker components and find a way to gate a speaker component so that it only triggers based on conditions being met. There's always a number of ways to do everything in the sandbox, and this is really just an experiment and one amongst many ways that you could do this. So I'd be interested in seeing other people's approaches to this. The goal here though is to try and build an efficient set of logic linkages through as few assets as possible. Let's get going. I've got our NPC here that I'm going to be speaking to, and I've got a poor hapless chicken that I'm going to be killing. And the chicken itself is going to serve as the catalyst, as the condition that we're going to meet in order for the NPC to speak to us. If I just pull up a bit of a whiteboard kind of thing here, I wanted to explain how I was going to go about this. The first thing that we're going to need on our NPC is we're going to need to use a message broadcaster. The message broadcaster is important in this case because it's gated. Message broadcasters, being a behavior, can take advantage of toggle behavior components to turn on and on their behavior. So the toggle behavior is going to be really important on the component side. And what we need to do is we need to use the enable attribute of the toggle behavior in order to send a message. On the message broadcaster side, we're really waiting for a message in order to send a message. And that waiting for a message is dependent on the toggle behavior being on. The other two nodes that are going to be important in this case are going to be a speaker component. The speaker being important because we need it to be able to display our text, kind of like our message box. And we also need to use a trigger volume, and the trigger volume is going to act kind of like the speaker component. And it's replacing the behavior of our speaker component. Normally a speaker component is set to detect the avatar within a certain range and then speak once or multiple times. But in this case, what we want our speaker component to do is we want it to be able to wait for a message. We don't want that speaker to be displaying text until we receive a specific message. And because the speaker component is a component, we can't use the toggle behavior to enable or disable it. This is where the message broadcaster comes in. In this case, the trigger volume is really just serving as a rangefinder from the avatar to the NPC. So based on the range to the NPC, we'll send a message up to the message broadcaster's wait status. All that said, let's put this together and see how it goes. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give the chicken a behavior. Let's give the chicken a, what do I want to give it? Let's give it a prey behavior. And we just want to be able to kill it really quickly with one punch. Let's use like a health of 3. We'll set the death delay to 0. We don't need a kill message in this case, but what we do need is we need a message sent when the asset dies. I'll say die. So the chicken dies. When it dies, we send a message to everyone in the scene, or we could send it to a specific NPC if we wanted to. For now, I'm going to use all. I'm going to send it to everything. And that takes care of our chicken. On the NPC side, we need to stack it with the behavior. We'll stack it with the message broadcaster. I'm using a single player, SP. And we need the 3 components. The first one being the speaker. We need the toggle behavior. And the last but not least, we need a trigger volume. And with those, we can edit the logic and set it up. In terms of thinking about how this is all going to come together, the speaker component is not going to be set to detect an entity, rather it's going to be waiting for a message. And the message that we're waiting for is going to be coming from the send on the message broadcaster. So we're looking to have these, the send message from the broadcaster fulfilling the required message of the speaker component. So we could set that up right away. We could say talk to me. And because all of this is being done on the NPC, we can set the broadcast type to self. We'll set the same message on the speaker component. The message required is talk to me. I don't need to, that looks good. We don't really need a send message at this point, so I'll leave that turned off. And that should be it. So let's say stop killing my chickens. That really needs a couple of exclamation marks, and we'll set that for 3 seconds. Set it to be always on top, and it's always going to be broadcast. We can also set the broadcast type, which in this case doesn't matter because we're at this point not sending any messages after the character is spoken. The toggle behavior is going to be turned off initially. We don't want the message broadcaster sending any message at all. It only starts to send a message when the chicken dies. And because the speaker component no longer is detecting the entity, that becomes the job of the trigger volume, which detects every avatar in range. I'll use a range of about 3 units. And when our avatar enters that trigger volume, let's say I am here. We don't need an exit message at this point, but when the avatar enters the 3-block range to the NPC, we'll broadcast that to itself. And then we can go up and set our I am here message and send that to the message broadcaster, which is waiting for it. And when it receives that message, it sends the talk to me. So I am here. And because the message broadcaster is gated through the toggle behavior and it's turned off, well, we're kind of safe until we kill a chicken. So essentially, that message broadcaster is behind bars until it's unlocked. All right, let's see how this all kind of comes together. I'll tab into the game and walk up to the NPC, and we don't get anything there until we kill the chicken. We walk back up to the NPC and we get the stop killing my chickens. The problem is if we walk away from the NPC and we kind of come back a couple seconds later, we run into the same problem. He hasn't forgotten. Ever. We can work our way around that by closing the loop on the speaker component. Normally what you could do on the speaker component is set it to only once, but what if you had more than one chicken? So like what if I had a few chickens? So the problem with the speaker running only once is if I walk up to the NPC, nothing happens. I kill a chicken, I run back, I get the stop killing my chickens. But if I go and kill another chicken and I walk back to him, I don't get anything there. In this case, this one's really easy to fix. All we need to do is change the behavior on the speaker component so it plays repeatedly, but we can once again gate the message broadcaster by turning off the toggle behavior once the text has been displayed. If you'll recall, speaker components have an attribute on them if we edit the logic that allows to send a message after the text has been displayed. And so we can say turn off toggle. Turn off toggle will be sent down on the object itself, so we can broadcast it to itself, and we can set the turn off message to turn off the toggle. So now every time we kill a chicken, we enable the toggle behavior, which allows the message broadcaster to send a message to the speaker component, which then speaks and then disables the toggle behavior by turning it off. And then we're into our loop. Let's test it out. If we walk up to our NPC, nothing happens. If we kill a chicken, we walk back to the NPC, we get this warning, if you want to call it that. We kill another chicken, we still get the warning. However, if we walk away and walk back, we don't get the warning until we kill another chicken, and we walk back and we get that warning again. At some point, this character is just going to lose his mind and he's just going to kill us. But in this case, at least we've got a loop working where the context of when the character speaks is a little bit more believable and linked up to some of the actions that you're taking in your experience. In any event, I hope you found this useful. It's an interesting exercise, trying to figure out different ways of creating similar types of logic and then determining which ones are more effective, which ones are easier to manage. And so far, I think this one works out pretty well, as it's entirely self-contained within a single asset that you can then turn into a preset, bring it out, and swap out that asset for other NPCs as you're building out your games. Anyways, my name is the John Crow. I will talk to you again soon when I come up with another Game Maker tutorial. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good one.